Welcome to Wrestling with Heart, a podcast looking at pro wrestlers giving back to their community. Join me, Stanley Carr, as I interview wrestling's hottest names who use their platforms as entertainers to raise awareness and do community service. Hello, and welcome to another edition of Wrestling with Heart. This is the show where we talk with professional wrestlers and professional wrestling personalities about their lives in and outside of the ring, as well as doing acts of charity and volunteering and just acts of service and inspiring people. We're all about positivity here on the show. And with me today, got a very special guest. She is a legendary performer. She is a former WCPW Ladies Champion, was inducted into the NWA National Wrestling Alliance Legends Hall of Heroes. And we've got a lot to talk about. The legendary Nickla Roberts Bird, a.k.a. Baby Doll. Welcome to the show.
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing fine. Thank you for coming on.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about your upbringing here. So you came from a wrestling family and promoters that were involved with the business. Tell me about your childhood and upbringing.
Well, a lot of people say that they've been in wrestling all their life. I literally have been in wrestling all my life. Both of my parents wrestled. My mom was Lorraine Johnson and my dad, Nick Roberts. They started promoting in Lubbock, Texas in 1962, right after I was first born. My playpen was actually in the back room where the guys would gather before the matches and smoke cigarettes and drink coffee before they went to their dressing rooms. As soon as I could pick up 4 chairs, I was setting up the ring and the ringside, because we had 640 ringside seats. Whenever I could carry a corner post, and I started with a ring crew, I sold programs, tickets, merch, whatever my dad needed. That's what we did. And my dad promoted the same town for over 22 years. And then I went on to Dallas and then Jim Crockett, and the rest is pretty much history.
Yeah, I mean, all across the South, almost, pretty
Right.
much Southwest. So you kind of had that wrestling education, that background at such a young age. It's
Oh, yeah.
really cool.
I mean, when your dad is on TV every weekend promoting the show that's going to be on Wednesday, and like Terry and Dory Funk are like your heroes, and everyone went through the Texas territory. Dusty Rhodes, Manny Fernandez, and Tully and Ted DiBiase, and I'm sure there's more than that, went to West Texas State. Whenever they were going to college, they worked the promotion there in Amarillo. And then we went, whenever I was in high school, we went with World Class Wrestling. So I learned how to throw discus from Kerry and was able to set my school record from little tricks that he showed me. Used to take the Von Erich boys to the gym and play racquetball, and it was quite a fun childhood. The Funks ran the Amarillo territory, and then with World Class, it was Fritz Von Erich. That was his office. And then you had Paul Bosch, which was down in Houston. You had Joe Blanchard in San Antonio, and the Guerreros in El Paso.
Oh, wow.
So there was like
I'll
5 territories just in Texas alone.
Wow. I mean, it's a huge state. I mean,
Right.
So yeah, you get a lot of wrestling there. So talk about, what was that moment for you that made you go, I want to actually do this?
Oh, really, like all my life, I wanted to always be in wrestling. I always watched wrestling on the weekends. Whenever we would travel, like for summer family trips, we would go to Georgia one year for my dad's family, and then Minnesota for one year for my mom's family. And as soon as I could find a TV guide, which was, you don't know anything about TV guides, but I would look up the listings to see like when the local wrestling was on that weekend. I would go to like the convenience stores and look at the magazines. Back then they didn't have valets. They didn't have like the part that I played. They had like the girl wrestlers. And for me, it was kind of a daunting situation because I'm a big girl. I'm like 5'10", 190, 200 pounds back then. And there just weren't the girls that were my size. So to wrestle was kind of not in the realm, but just by the grace of God, I was at the right place at the right time and overheard my parents, and they were looking for a girl for Gino. And I just thought that that would be a perfect fit, just because they were looking for a bodyguard and I was the size of a bodyguard. So just a matter of being at the right place at the right time and making the right phone calls to the right people.
Yeah, I mean, training to be a wrestler is not easy. You gotta
Oh, it's
go through
not.
so much.
There's a lot of people that want to be wrestlers, but once they start taking bumps, and by the second or third time that they're actually in the ring, their body is either saying, yeah, let's go with this, I can do this, or their body shuts down. Because in my theory, from the time you're a small child, from the time you're 2 years old, you teach yourself not to fall because it hurts. And so with wrestling, we teach you the exact opposite. We're going to teach you how to fall and fall really hard. Well, a lot of people don't realize this, but it jars your insides. I mean, you can feel your liver, you can feel your heart. It takes a lot to build that up and to get, like when they say core strength, you really need core strength to take, like really big bumps and really impressive bumps, because you don't want to fall like a douchebag. You don't want to fall in pieces. You want to fall, and you want to fall really hard. Otherwise, you're going to get hurt. And after the first day, you like when my daughter started taking bumps, she couldn't even lift her head up off the pillow the first day. She hurt so bad that she literally could not move, not even to like lift her head up. But the following week, she was right back in the gym and right back in the ring taking bumps again. So I knew, she had that in her, because a lot of people, they don't have it in them. Your body will actually stop. You'll go to take a bump and your body will not do it. So yes, training is really, really hard.
Yeah, for you, I know you said you started out at kind of as a bodyguard, as a valet, but making that transition to competitor, I mean, what was the training process like for you specifically?
Well, whenever I did ballet and whenever I worked with Gino, I didn't have to like wrestle. I just walked down to the ring. I did a couple of matches with Stella where Jake Roberts came to the sportatorium, taught me the DDT. So I'm actually can say that, a master taught me the DDT. I had a couple of matches with her, but they weren't like wrestling matches where it was, where chain wrestling or holds or anything. It was just kind of set up, to beat each other up. And then when I went with Crockett and Gino, or with Tully, I really didn't have to wrestle at all until we did the angle with Cornette. And we had 14 matches with a bash. And it was basically like an arm drag or a hip toss with Bobby. And then I beat the crap out of Cornette. The summer of '87, I went to Nelson Royal's camp in Mooresville, North Carolina. Spent the whole summer up there training with Rockin' Robin, my sister-in-law at the time, and Ken Shamrock was also training. And we trained up there for the whole summer, and that was rough because we trained in the morning and the evening because it was in a big barn, and that thing would get so hot that we couldn't work out in the afternoon. It'd have to be like early morning or evening, and just I trained for several months with Nelson. Rockin' Robin got the shot with WWE, so I didn't ever have to wrestle, which I'm thankful to this point because I made my mark in wrestling. I'm like one of the best ballets ever. I think I'm one of the heat that I had in '85 and '86 with Crockett. I had more heat those 2 years than any female has ever had in this business. I don't think any female has ever come close to what the heat that I had, especially with Tully. I was very fortunate that I didn't really have to wrestle. I could have if I wanted to, but now I'm able to walk pretty well and I'm not stove up from all the bumps that I would have had to take.
It's just fascinating to see, the role of a manager in valet and how it's kind of changed over the years, evolved.
Right.
You don't really see a lot of managers these days, I feel like. Do you feel like it's sort of a lost art?
It's the business changes, and it's like whenever you look, there were very few wrestlers or managers in like the 60s and 70s. There were a few. JC Dykes comes to mind. Um, he, he was through Texas a lot. Um, I think that it is a lost art, but then um, I go to a lot of indie shows and there's like 5 matches and 5 managers. I think that like with the top promotions, they're not using it so much. But then you've got like Arn and Tully were in AEW. They've got the girl Julia Hart. She's a manager up there. There are managers, and you got Pollo Del Mar with the NWA, and James Mitchell's also with NWA. So there are still quite a few managers, not so many valets, but definitely the managers are there.
Yeah.
But see, I could call myself actually a valet. I didn't really manage. I didn't really like tell him what to do during a match. I just enhanced the match. And I also, like with Tully, I could say that I was actually a valet inside and outside the ring because I made like a lot of the plane reservations. I know I made all the hotel reservations, all the car reservations. I would, when we landed in a town, I would like race to the car rentals, go rent the car, get the car, and have it driving around by the time the guys got their bags, and I'd meet them out front. I'd drive them to the shows. I did probably 90% of the driving for Tolly. Um, so I really was kind of a valet at the time. I made myself like indispensable and made it really easy for him to work and be the best wrestler he could have been.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like you were, the muscle and and the brains behind a lot of the operations. So that's so amazing.
I was just there to make things easier for them, I think.
Yeah, you were very valuable. What was it like?
And I could get heat.
Yes, yes, you can. Yes, you could. What was it like working with Arn and Tully?
It was whatever you think it was. I can honestly say it was more from, like getting up at like 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning to be on the plane at 7 o'clock, then flying out, or having 300 miles to drive before we got to the event, getting to the event, getting ready. Um, it was whatever you think it, all I can describe it as whatever you think it was more. It was just way more.
Wow. Sure. So the amount of wrestling that you did do, what were some of like your favorite matches and favorite opponents that you got to work with?
Um, well, I'd have to put Cornette over because he was like the main one that I worked with. Um, with working with Tully and with his matches, I'd have to put a definite tie between like Dusty and Magnum. Dusty was so different than Magnum. There was a charismatic, like showboating wrestling more. While with Magnum, they actually had hard fought battles and would knock the crap out of each other. So the two different styles, the two different working ways to work, it was for me to work with someone, I would say with Cornette, but like with working with Tully, I would have to say it was a definite tie between Magnum and Dusty.
Both incredibly talented athletes.
Oh yes.
And Dusty definitely was just he was a pioneer, just really
Oh,
like had an
he
eye.
made legends and stars out of all of us. And
Yeah.
God rest his soul. We just 2 days ago was the 8-year anniversary of his death, and
Yeah.
cannot say enough about how much I miss him, and just miss seeing him and miss him at like fan fests and autograph sessions and things like that. Just he is truly missed.
And look at what his kids are doing now. You got Dustin in AEW, you got Cody in WWE.
Right.
I mean, he deep down, I mean, he's got to be proud of them, you know.
Oh yes, and don't forget Teal Margaret. I don't believe I met his oldest daughter, but Teal Margaret is his is Cody's sister,
Mm-hmm.
and she's helping the mom Michelle with the Dusty Rhodes Foundation. They're
Oh,
doing a lot of work with that and keeping Dusty's memory alive and saving back a bunch of stuff and memorabilia, and very proud of Teal and Michelle.
So
Pardon me.
you had talked about Jim Cornette earlier. What was it like working with him?
Um, Cornette was brutal, absolutely brutal with his promos. Very cutting, very not funny, but it got heat. And the matches, I think that I can honestly say the Great American Bashes in July of '86, we made more money together than any of us made any other time in our career. We
Really?
made a lot of money.
Yeah, I can definitely believe that. I mean, two of iconic managers kind of going face to face with each other.
Right. And Ole Anderson getting mad because we were booked last and he was like on third and fourth, and we were getting paid more than he did. And he didn't think that that was fair, but I think we drew the houses. So they're not going to
Sure,
pay you if they didn't think that you drew. So
sure. You had also spent some time in the Universal Wrestling Federation in the late 80s.
I really don't remember that. You're going to have to.
Yeah. You left Jim Crockett in '87 and joined the promotion that was based out in Oklahoma. It was kind of a
Okay.
brief.
So I guess we worked some shows in Dallas, maybe. Now we did Mid South. Sam and I did Mid South for a little bit, and I guess that would have been 88, 87, 88, maybe 88, 89.
Yeah,
That was Mid South. I didn't know it was Universal, but I think Sam worked with Watts for about 8 months before he actually ended up with WWF.
yeah. Did you ever work for WWE for a brief period?
I've never made a check for them. My whole family, literally, my whole family, my dad made checks from WWE whenever he would rent rings, and he promoted some shows for, actually, it was WWF whenever they came to West Texas.
Yeah.
So he had checks for WWF. My father-in-law, Grizzly Smith, was an agent for WWF. My brother-in-law at the time, Jake the Snake, of course, his history with WWF and WWE. Rockin' Robin, my sister-in-law. My ex-husband, Sam. My current husband, Chad Bird, has made several checks with WWF. My daughter, Samantha Starr, has done a couple of shows with WWF and made, or WWE, and made checks. And my son-in-law, Bosworth, has also made checks with WWE, but not me, not ever. I've never made a WWE check, which I don't think that anyone in the business can say that except for me.
Really? Did you ever want to go at all at one point?
Um, oh, of course. I mean, I trained, to wrestle and possibly go up there. I just I think that they saw that I wouldn't put up with the bullshit and the stuff that they were putting the girls through and what they expected from the girls, and that I wasn't a girl that was going to fit in the pattern with the other girls, and I kind of called bullshit on stuff a lot, and I wouldn't have put up with it. And I just don't think that I was Vince's type, and we'll just leave it at that.
Okay. All right. You've done a lot of indie shows in
I've
recent
done
years.
thousands. It seems like I've done
Thousands.
thousands of indie shows now.
Yeah. What's that experience been like? Because it's a different kind of venue versus a mainstream promotion like a
Right,
WWE, like a
right.
WCW.
It's you can get like the very best of the best, and then you can get the very worst of the worst, and it's everything in between that makes it so interesting. Because for me, I really don't know what I'm going to walk into, especially with a new promotion. Like, how is their setup going to be? Who are the other guys that are going to be on the card? The setup, the whole thing, and it's always an experience. It's always eye opening. We've got Tracy Myers and Hawks with AML in
Hmm.
out of Winston Salem. They also have WrestleCade,
I've
stellar
heard of them.
promotion.
Yeah.
We've got The Gathering, which is a fan fest in Charlotte the first week of August. Tony D'Amato with his family, stellar show with that. And then you've got some of the other ones, and I'm probably going to miss some of the good ones I've missed. But then you've got shows throughout the year that you just show up, and it's for me, I love the fans, and I love that they come out and see me and tell me their stories of sitting on the couch with a grandparent or a parent and just reliving like 1985, 1986. I absolutely love it. I absolutely love seeing the new guys and girls that are getting in the promotion. And I cannot forget NWA. I've done several shows with them. My daughter is currently working with them regularly. Billy Corgan has is making his dream come true by making wrestling the way it should be. And I cannot say enough good things about them. So many people behind the scenes. They treat their talent A+. I look forward to seeing really huge things from NWA in the next year or two. Really
Yeah,
do.
yeah. It seems like NWA kind of brings back that old
And I got the
school
Crockett
wrestling
Cup
style.
shirt on.
Yeah, there you go. Free plug there.
Right?
Yeah. So NWA, it's like that. They bring back that old school traditions that I think are missing
Right.
in the current state of the mainstream product. But
Right.
yeah,
I heard that more than once at this last TV taping with the Crockett Cup in Winston-Salem. Like, we're gonna make wrestling the way it should be. And I really look forward to seeing what they're gonna do. I like the traditions that they're bringing back. Like with the Crockett Cup, they hadn't had the Crockett Cup in decades, and they brought the Crockett Cup. The Briscoes won it last year. This year it was Mike Knox and Trevor Murdoch. They had like 22 teams. They had teams from all over the world come in. It was such a pleasure to sit on Saturday evening after we'd finished everything with my daughter and her husband Bosworth to just sit and watch the matches. And we probably watched maybe 15 matches, and it was amazing the way that they did things. It was
yeah.
really good. And the hardcore team war was, I was going to say triple threat. My daughter corrected me. Hardcore team war. If you ever get to see that, my daughter came out as a winner of that. They had two teams of 4 girls on each team. Man, one of the best girl matches I've seen in a really, really long time. Really hard hitting. The girls gave it their all. And Samantha Starr came out on top, which I was really, really happy for that.
It's great. I mean, it's so cool that you got a daughter that's also into wrestling. When
Oh,
did
yes. She is the only third generation female wrestler. There's a lot of third generation wrestlers out there, like with their dad or their granddad wrestled, but no one has their mom and their grandmother in their history. Plus, she's got Jake the Snake as her uncle, Rockin' Robin as her aunt, Sam Houston as her dad, Chad Bird as her stepdad,
got a little bit of everything in
Bosworth
there?
is her husband. So almost as good as the Samoans, but not close. Not quite there, but close.
Yeah. One day, hopefully we'll see her on top.
Oh, I hope so. I mean,
Yes.
she's doing really well. She's worked indies for a long time. She's worked a lot of promotions. She's always had a career in, like, with college, so she's always had other stuff going on. There for 2 years, she was a full-time college student. She owned a Sonic, and she was wrestling every weekend. So very goal oriented, very good at multitasking. I see a lot of good things happening with her, especially in NWA. NWA is really taking a shine to her and really, really like her.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, let's switch gears now and talk about the charity work and volunteer work that you've done over the years. What organizations have you worked with?
Oh my gosh. I just did an event in Laurinburg in Scotland County where the event was focused on Crime Stoppers. So I've done work with Crime Stoppers, and I'm also I donate and do some work with Clifford's Army Rescue. It's a animal rescue down in South Carolina. Deborah Harden is I want to say the president, but she's a leader, and you're seeing her pick up puppies and animals all the time and helping them. She's got a whole army of volunteers that will take in the animals and take them to the vet, make sure that they're getting good care, adopt them out. and just a really super, super good organization. But between like Crime Stoppers and Clifford's Army, those are the two that I'm currently working with.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And
So
if
many.
you'll notice my page, I'm always putting up like puppy rescues and things like that because animals deserve a second chance. They deserve a good home. That sometimes we're all they've got, and the humans that they have sometimes don't treat them well, or the humans kind of get in over their head. I know with this economy, like with dog food getting like crazy expensive, and even cat food, it's
Mhm.
hard for people to afford their pets. And I'll help out whatever way I can.
Yeah, I know prices, especially since the pandemic started, have kind of gone up for food, let alone
Right.
dog food, cat food. But it's important to feed them, take care of them, because like with humans, you never know what they're going through in their lives.
Right.
So
Right. And
it's
sometimes we're all they've got. I mean, they don't have thumbs. They can't go to the store and buy the stuff themselves.
hmm
So,
hats off to the pet stores and the manufacturers and the companies that try to serve the dog food and have them around so that we can take them and get them the help that they need.
right. Right.
Yeah. So let's talk about the Crime Stoppers. Tell me a little bit more how you got involved with that.
Crime Stoppers is like the first 48. If you ever watch them, they're always looking for witnesses or someone that saw something, and they will actually reward people. If someone is convicted, they'll reward them with the money that's been donated. And
Hmm.
sometimes that's all that the detective needs is just that one tip to point them in the right direction of getting the bad guy. And Crime Stoppers is a way for citizens to stay anonymous and to let the police officers know and the detectives know what they saw and help solve the crime so that, I mean, 99% of us are good people, and we
Hmm.
have our property and we have our lives, and we just kind of want to do our own thing and be left alone. But if you've got bad people out there doing bad things, they don't deserve to be in society. They can't be with us. So we need
Hmm.
the police to help put them in jail and keep them away from the good people so that more good people aren't hurt. So I like
Absolutely.
Crime Stoppers because it's kind of like the real life 48 hours of like crime detection and getting the
Yeah.
citizens involved.
And what's your role with them currently?
I just do events to help, like with the wrestling event that I just did. The money the for the charity, the money from the shows goes to Crime Stoppers so that it goes to the tip line.
I got you. I got you. And as far as the the other one, what do you do? What do you do there as far as like your
I
role?
Samantha and I have done events for them. We've done I think it was, I want to say it was right at a year ago. We did a celebrity auction where we helped auction off several items. Gosh, there was about 25 like really cool stuff where people donate items to be auctioned off for the charity. I also donate on the $5 Fridays. I'm a regular I donate on Fridays. And then I also, if you notice my Facebook page and even Twitter page, I post a lot of the animals so that they can get help getting adopted out.
Ah, that's very nice. Why do you feel so passionate about helping out in your community?
I think it was the way I was raised, just helping other people. Not everyone, because I'll be the first. I am truly blessed in my life. I don't know what I did previously to deserve what I've gotten, but I am truly blessed. I've got two of the best daughters ever. I always say that I've done a lot of cool stuff, but being a parent to Micah and Michaela has just been a total gift. And sometimes you've got to give back. And to me, it's not a matter of like feeling good. It's kind of a deal like you have to. Like to keep the blessings going, you have to keep giving the blessings. So to keep my luck going and my blessings going, then I keep passing along the blessings is the way I try to do it.
Yeah,
Because if I feel good, I want someone else to feel good.
absolutely. Just got to pay it forward. Hey, listen, I just want to say thank you for coming on the show. It means a lot to me. And where
Well,
can
you're
people?
welcome. Thank you
Yeah,
for inviting me.
you're welcome. Where can people find you on social media? If you want to promote any shows, feel free.
Well, right now, I'm always there. If you do Facebook or Twitter, if you just type in my first name, Nickla, Nickla, I'm the only one. I'll pop up. I've got Facebook, very active with Twitter. I'm trying to get going on Instagram, but it's like adding another rock to the pile. It's like a lot to keep going. But Facebook and Twitter, I think I'm a little more vocal on, and I'm on there all the time, probably several times a day, checking messages and ads. And I have Gilkey, North Carolina on the 4th of July. I have Lexington, North Carolina. Let me see, the 4th, 7th. I think the 11th of July. I'm not sure on Lexington. Then I've got Chicago right after that. I'm going to be appearing with Samantha. And then I've got the gathering the first week of August, North Wilkesboro the week after that with George South, and then WrestleCade in November, the Thanksgiving weekend in November. So
Yeah, it'd be
a
pretty
lot of bookings
busy.
coming up.
Yeah, it's
Yes,
exciting.
I know, right?
Yeah, I love it. All right, thank you again. You're more than
Well,
welcome to
you're
come
welcome.
back.
Thank you.
All right, take care.
This is Wrestling with Heart. I hope you found this podcast to be informative and entertaining. If you did, please hit the subscribe button and look out for the next edition.